Thank you. Thank you very much. And I would add, if you have the opportunity to be principal for a day, it's a great opportunity to do it at any one of our schools. And I totally agree with you. The only part that I would add is that I think that the state of Florida also needs to seriously consider disabled children and disabled adults. We have very few options at the college level, and it's something that is very sad because they stay in our system until 22. And as a school board member, and I'll disclose that I am the very proud parent of an autistic child, but as a school board member, one of the saddest parts of graduation is handing a graduation certificate to a disabled child who doesn't want to graduate, because there is nothing after 22 for them. They go off the cliff. And you sit there with their parents and you talk about options, and sadly the state of Florida has not considered many options. I know that NOVA is now working with the Dan Marino Foundation for a private option for autistic children and children with other disabilities to go to the university, but it's very limiting. And then the reality is that we want them to be successful, and we know that university is a part of that. And if we're not going to do it at that level, then we need to work with organizations that do it at the high school level to prepare them to be able to work and to thrive as adults. So I hope that at some point we consider that. And I'm also very proud of our community because at the last election, Miami-Dade County really showed an enormous amount of self-help. We talk about the lack of funding in our schools, and here in Miami-Dade County, our residents approved by a 68% margin bond initiative to fix our facilities and to provide technology to our students. And we couldn't be more grateful because for years we've been asking Tallahassee to do it, and they just won't do it. And our residents recognize that education is a priority. But I know in the earlier one when we were talking about transportation, we were talking about funding. And funding is an aspect to education also. Is it going to become a priority? For those of you who don't know, the state of Florida is one of the few states where they had to put in the Constitution that education was a priority. I don't think it got us any funding, but the idea was that if it was in the Constitution, someone at some point would get funding, but it didn't work out that way. It would appear that our Constitution is full of unfunded mandates, and that being one of them. But it speaks to the nature of Floridians. I think there's so many of us whose families came here looking for something better, and there is an understanding that education is a very important component to that. Now, from making it a priority from the everyday person to making it a priority at the government level and at the funding level is where I think we need to go in the next 10, 20, and 30 years. And I hope at 50 we won't still be having this conversation about funding and making education a priority. We'll all understand that it is, and be happy for that. So with that,